Okay, so as promised, we are doing episode 9 with Sharon. Hi, Sharon.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
So, we kind of were saying before we started recording that this episode 9 doesn't have a whole lot, but of course, we're going to talk about other things as we have done before. But just
Yeah,
in general, what did you think about these 3 episodes that we
these
got?
three.
And
Okay, so yeah, the one thing that comes into my mind and like that sticks with me is like I feel like especially episode 7 and then a little bit in episode 8, I could just tell how edited the episodes are
mhm,
to the point where I'm like, this is not even an authentic conversation because I could see how much has been edited. Um,
really,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if I was looking that closely, but
I wasn't even trying to, but like for example, like the one at like the specific moment where I'm like, oh my God, that was such an edited conversation was the conversation Clay was having with AD regarding the whole like fear about uh cheating and his whole like family history.
see,
Um
is that editing or is that him not being like
no, that's
necessarily
that's like
authentic?
no, that's editing because
You think it's
like
editing?
I think the conversation, like whatever he was saying, he was saying it. I don't think like they altered the conversation, but I'm saying they cut a lot of like
Things
maybe,
out.
yeah, like
Yeah.
80s point of view. Like this, there's no way in any normal conversation where it would be just him talking for 2 minutes about that situation and 80 just be like, mm-hmm. Like there's gonna be some back and forth. There's gonna be like, wait, what do you mean by that? Wait, so are you trying to insinuate that you see yourself cheating? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
100% there's something, and I just like didn't. I wanted it to be indulged more. And I guess that's where I'm like, oh, this is so edited because if I was in that situation, I'd be asking for more clarity regarding this, and like it wasn't presented because obviously they're
That's
trying to
that's yeah, that's true.
sprinkle drama.
But I think also I think we're gonna get maybe a little bit more with that conversation
Yeah,
episodes.
yeah, I think so for sure, for
So
sure, and
I
maybe that's
think
why they did that.
yeah, maybe.
Hmm.
Because yes, I would be asking a lot of questions. I would be kind of, well, is that seriously a fear of yours? Because we're
Yeah,
getting married here and you know, um, but yeah, we'll definitely get in. I mean, I
yeah.
feel like we don't talk a lot about Clay and AD in the ninth episode, but
Hmm.
and I feel like there's actually not a lot that I really needed to discuss, except for um when he. I mean, I don't like to give him a lot of leeway just because him, but when I think it was in the seventh episode when
Yeah,
he's kind of saying to her, kind of like what you're saying, his fears, his not wanting to disappoint her
yeah,
because this day is going to be important to her. I keep when I hear someone say this is going to be important to you, it's like okay, so it's not important to you. Like, well, but anyway, when he's saying things like that and how she very quickly flips
yeah,
and it's like, what the fuck just happened? Like,
yeah, yeah,
and I'm like, okay, but now you're having this energy. Okay, you knew that he is not necessarily equipped for this.
yeah,
He was very honest with you in the pods.
yeah.
Honestly, with if not necessarily just with his words, then with how he approaches things,
Mm-hmm.
how he reacts to things.
Mm-hmm.
He's been very honest with, if not words, at least with his actions and how he takes things.
Yeah.
And you want to act surprised that he maybe feels a way about not wanting to disappoint you?
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Like,
This definitely it stems from the fact that like because of this experiment, you don't necessarily know a person's body language. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like, yeah, you feel like you know them and you love them. But
Mhm.
one thing that's missing in this entire experience is like understanding body language. And I
Yeah.
think that's where it was stemming from the whole like, yo, you flipped so suddenly. What the heck? And she got her defenses up because she obviously took it personal.
Mhm.
And then remember when she was having that conversation with Jeremy, she realized, okay, it's not me. It's not me. It's just him. It's just how he is. Like he
Right.
needs that time and that moment to reflect because
which
a
I
lot of
think
things
was
are running
very
in his head.
helpful. I thought it
Yeah.
was really helpful that he told her that because,
Yes.
I mean, again, I think again, as just humans,
Hmm.
maybe sometimes women can be a little more like this. We
Hmm.
tend to get very much in our feelings about when
Yeah.
things don't make sense. Like sometimes I'm even guilty of that.
Yeah.
Um, because like, if my boyfriend's not like responding to me in a certain way or, is acting a certain way, sometimes I'm even like something wrong.
Yeah.
But like with us, but you
I,
have to learn like sometimes a person changes or you're still getting to know a person or whatever the case may be. And it's just like, don't get so caught up in your feelings about certain things. And you should be giving him his space. Honestly, I think that part of it, Jeremy, should not have to tell you.
hmm.
Just to give him his space sometimes. Don't be like in his face constantly. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily what's happening, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I hear you. I know we do need some, like there's moments where we need that reassurance
Mm-hmm.
because, thoughts are ruminating in our heads and such,
Mm-hmm.
but um uh I it just comes with, our past experiences, and it takes a while for it to break and for us to get used to this new experience and realize, okay, this is different because of this reason.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, with everything, there's like a balance, right? You can't just
Right.
be too much, like, for example, Chelsea. And you can't be too little. So you have to kind of have that like understanding that, like, okay, in these types of situations, like I do need a reassurance, but not every single day, every single minute,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. So, anyways, Clay, in these three episodes, I did not like. I honestly didn't. I have no hate to Clay right now.
Mhm.
Um, I
I am
under.
different. Especially when like I think she meets his mom in the ninth episode, right? Or is that in the
I
eighth
think so.
episode? Okay.
Honestly, it's a blur,
If it doesn't come up in the episode, we'll talk about it.
right?
But I I didn't really particularly appreciate how he decided to approach a subject with her while she's meeting his mom and his sister.
Yeah. But
I
I don't
didn't
remember
like that.
who initiated that conversation though.
Technically, him, if I'm correct in my memory here, I'll find out when we get to the notes or something, but if
Okay.
it is in this episode, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he did. Like, I think she was definitely engaging in the conversation,
Yeah.
but he kind of took it from one extreme to another. That was
Okay.
him for
Okay. I
sure.
thought it was just both of them, and I was like, okay, this is not a conversation to have in front of here, but
She wasn't stopping because me personally, if
yeah.
I'm in front of other people and me
Hmm.
and my boyfriend are having a conversation about something that is between me and him,
Yeah.
I would literally shut this down and say, "We're going to talk about this, not in front of your mom and your sister.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this when we go back home."
Yeah.
That's what I would have done. But
I mean,
instead,
yeah.
she engaged in it, and I'm like, "Okay, well, that's not great."
Yeah.
Um, so I want to also talk about, which I'm not again sure if it's in this episode, but if it is, then we won't talk about it again.
Okay.
This whole situation with Johnny and Amy with the birth control.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, for I know he says like he's never been with a woman as he thinks anyway, that he's never been with a woman who's not been on birth control.
Yeah.
That's probably just your luck, whatever. I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, but he has obviously kind of said, as we know, Amy is not on birth control.
Yeah.
And that's her decision. Whatever
Yeah.
her reasoning is behind not being on birth control, her decision.
Yeah.
Um, I've been on and off birth control before. I fully chose I am not going on birth control again from
Hmm.
2018. My boyfriend had always been aware I am not on birth control. So
Yeah.
if you don't want to use protection, know what's about to happen.
Hmm.
I mean, we're in a different place now, but that's the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a personal choice of mine. My initially when I went on birth control was because he wanted me to. And I did, and I felt comfortable enough to do that, so I did. But if if he and her are having this conversation about birth control, and she, I mean, I don't know if she's necessarily said no to the idea of it yet, but my first question in all of this, when he's talking about his comfort level and him not wanting to have sex with her because she's not on birth control, why can't you use a condom? Why can't he use a condom? What is stopping him from
I
doing,
I
from
think that
protecting himself?
is like because she even mentioned this, like if even with the even in with a condom, like he fears, like the fear is still very strong, even with
So
a
he
condom.
thinks that birth control is more foolproof than a
No, it
condom.
would be birth control plus condom.
I understand. I understand what
Yeah. So
I
it's
don't
like an
know. I
extra
don't know if
layer.
actually I don't know if that is true. I'm my impression is he doesn't want to use a condom.
No,
Even
no, no. I
that's
think your
what I
impression
took.
is wrong.
Okay, but I'm just saying. I personally, 'cause I think the comment came in a different episode where she said to him a condom wouldn't be enough. But I
Yeah.
think what she meant by that is that she was saying even if I don't go on birth control and we opt for a condom instead of, that still wouldn't be enough for him. That's what I gained from that impression,
Hmm.
from what she said. I don't think if she's on birth control, he would then use the condom. That's what I took from it.
No, that's silly because like
Why though?
people get pregnant with birth control. Like
Of
that's
course,
not a
but
foolproof.
you can still get pregnant from a condom.
Yeah,
If the
exactly.
condom breaks, just because,
Exactly. That's his fear. So that's why he
hold
wants
on, hold
both.
on. We're talking science here, right? If the condom breaks, that doesn't mean you have added protection because she's on birth control. 85% is still 85%, whether the condom breaks or not.
No, like the percentage is lower.
Percentages, no, percentage for birth control is 85%.
Okay,
Percentage for the
sure.
condom is 99 or something like that percent, whatever the
Yeah.
hell it is.
Yeah.
So you're
So
more
if
protected with a
one
condom.
breaks, if say if a condom breaks,
Hmm.
then then it's like, oh, there's like 100% chance you could be pregnant. But if a condom breaks and there's still birth control you're on, there's only 85% chance that you won't be pregnant. So you know what I'm saying? So
I
that's,
understand.
he's very, like, that's where I'm coming from. That's where I understand it from. Because other than that, like, that just doesn't make sense. That just, to
People
me, it
still
just,
get, but if the condom breaks,
yeah,
85% is 85%. It doesn't give you
yeah,
added
exactly.
protection, but
No, but that's
people
what I'm
still
saying.
get pregnant on the pill.
A
So
hundred
if the
percent.
condom breaks, it doesn't matter. If
But the
if
percentage,
today's the
but you
day,
see what I'm saying? Like,
no, I see
if
what you're
you,
saying.
okay, yeah,
But what
yeah,
I'm saying is, even if the condom breaks, and let's say God said, well, today's the day I'm going to make the birth control not work for you,
yeah.
and they get pregnant, it doesn't matter whether the condom is used or not. Like,
No,
that's what I'm
100%.
trying to say. It doesn't matter. It's not foolproof. Nothing is
Oh,
foolproof.
100%. Even a vasectomy is not foolproof.
Which
Even
I'll talk
tying your
about that in a
tubes are
minute.
not foolproof. Like
I
nothing is
mean,
foolproof.
I think with tying your tubes,
No, people get pregnant when they tie their tubes or something
but
like
is it
that.
even safe if it happens? I know it can
Oh,
happen, but I'm talking about the
okay.
safety of it. I don't even
Probably,
think you
most
can
definitely
carry to
not.
term with
Probably
tying
not.
tubes. So
The percentage is probably very, very low that
yeah,
it's even safe. 100%.
yeah.
But yeah,
But that's
nothing
what I'm
is
trying to say.
foolproof.
Like nothing is foolproof. So I do wonder where this like level of fear. I'm sorry. I'm a person of if you decide that you want to be sexually active at
Hmm.
any point in life,
Yeah.
then you better be fully prepared that accidents happen.
Yeah.
Like I watch, there's a show on Lifetime right now. I think it's a newer show, but it's very similar to a TLC show that used to be on a long time ago. Um, called, like I didn't know I was pregnant or something like that. I think that might have been the TLC show, but it's very similar to that. And 9 times out of 10, the women who are talking were on birth control and they didn't, oh, I'm not pregnant because I'm on the pill. Obviously, we all think like that, but it's not foolproof. So his argument, I mean, what I'm trying to say is his argument of, well, every woman I know has been on the birth control or whatever, and that made me feel safe or whatever the hell, because people get, that's not true. People still get pregnant on the pill, and it's just not foolproof. And scientifically speaking, you are safer with a condom than you are with birth control. That's just science.
Yeah.
Or whatever the success rate is. That
I
is,
think
you're
100%.
safer with a condom than you are with birth control.
Yeah, and that's very true. And I think that that just shows how uneducated
He
your
is.
but Americans, no, sorry to all
Americans.
Americans. Yeah, like they're educated.
Americans.
Yeah, sorry. I know I'm doing hot take, sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, no offense to my Americans. I'm just saying like their education system,
Hmm.
which we could all agree on,
Hmm.
lacks a lot,
It
lacks a
does.
lot of substance.
It
Where
does.
like if it doesn't impact you, you don't really know much about it. So for example, Amy, she knows a lot about sex education because it impacts her personally. And
Hmm.
like she did come on Instagram, she did like say like posted a story of like a notes, just explaining the whole thing that she has like a hereditary like something that like will be passed on to could likely pass on to her kids, such and such,
Hmm.
and that's like reasons why she's on birth control, such and
Hmm.
such.
Hmm.
And then she's just going
I
on this
think, yeah, I
spiel.
think she kind of briefly mentions that on the show too.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
And she also emphasized that like they just don't have much knowledge on sex education. And you could just fully see that in Johnny's uh opinion or fear, right? Like
Hmm.
exactly what you're saying, Tanika. Like technically condom is much more safer than birth control, but this guy is like, oh, birth control, like, and it just shows how much he lacks the knowledge on female,
I
on the
mean,
female
all
body
she's
and
doing,
protective system.
all any of these women are doing who've been on the pill is just pumping estrogen into them.
Yeah.
That does not necessarily, yes, it is harder to get pregnant when you have a higher level of estrogen in your body, but it's not impossible.
Yeah.
So that's what, like, he doesn't seem to realize. Now,
Hmm.
I've actually done an ultrasound while on the pill because, you know, OBs didn't properly educate me.
Yeah.
And the woman actually could see, the technician actually says to me, asked me in the moment, are you on birth control? Because I cannot see, I can't get a proper view of your ovaries or or just the uterus in general, because
Yeah.
it does change things. You're actually
Yeah.
not releasing an egg in the same way or whatever. If you even are, I don't even know.
Hmm.
I don't think so, but it doesn't mean that that month you don't actually release an egg. And
Yeah.
then it happens. But then also just from that perspective as well, um, a woman's chances of successfully getting pregnant in a cycle
Hmm.
is really very low.
Yeah.
Every month that you're trying, your percentage of getting pregnant, that chance increases.
Hmm.
And I'm going to say this because I learned this recently too. And I said, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's because the reason that happens is the sperm softens the uterus. So if you're just putting it all in there every time you guys have sex, you're increasing her chances of getting pregnant, even
Interesting.
if you're on the fucking pill.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that. I didn't even know that. And I bet you, sorry, hot take, Americans will never know that. Sorry.
I I can
It's
remember
not the
where,
American, it's just the American education system that I'm
yeah.
I'm hating on. Okay. Please don't take it personal.
I don't even remember where I heard this, but it
Yeah.
was recently, and I'm like, oh, okay. So that's exactly it. Like,
Yeah.
you're softening her I don't know if it's the uterus or cervix, whatever it is. You're softening all of that, and you're making that all as possible. So the more you're doing it, and the more you're just, finishing in her,
Hmm.
the chances increase of her getting pregnant. So guess what? You're the birth control pill. Yes, it's 85%, but there is a reason why it is 85%.
Yeah. Yeah, you absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I agree in that take. And this is the conversation that's either gonna make or break Amy and Johnny, plus Amy's
Hmm.
dad on
Hmm.
top of that.
And
So
and also he's also saying that, oh, I just thought all women were on birth control. Are you
yeah,
fucking kidding me, sir?
yeah.
So you just think that all women out here are just pumping birth control into their bodies?
Yeah, and sis, I'm gonna tell you something right now, Tanika. A lot of men think that. Even here,
That's
it's like a shock.
insane
Like,
to
oh,
me.
you're not on birth control. Why are you not on it? Like, I thought like all the girls are just like they just think this is just another vitamin pill that we taking. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like normal for us to be on this by a certain age.
Right.
And
And I
it's like,
mean, I
no.
think some girls, yes, do that in like high school if they're being sexually
Yeah,
active or whatever the hell the case may be.
yeah,
But I was never one who was put on birth control, or I decided on my own
yeah.
when I was like, I don't know, 20, that I
Hmm.
wanted to be on birth control. Like I said, I was on and off of it. I was on it when I was not, well, I wasn't in a relationship, but I was on it when I was,
Yeah.
having sex with one particular person for a long
Hmm.
time. I went on it. I
Right.
came off. I went back on when I was with my ex-husband when I didn't want to get pregnant because he decided he didn't want to use protection. And I'm like, I'm not ready. So I took that into my own hands.
Oh, damn, Tanika, that's a red flag if I see one. But he's an ex for a reason.
Honestly, honestly, at that time, I was young. I was
Yeah.
22. You let things go.
Oh, 100%. The standards were so low.
Girl, there's a lot of red flags with my ex-husband that I
Yeah.
look back at now at 32,
Yeah. 10
almost
years
33.
later. Look at that.
Yeah. And I was like, what the hell? Because these are things now that looking at it, my boyfriend would never put me through. He
Hmm.
would never put me through that. Now,
Yeah.
yes, not did I go on the birth control because he said, you know, I would prefer if you were on the pill. I did.
Uh-huh.
I said, okay, fine, I'll do it because I didn't have an issue being on the pill because I had been on it before.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, fine. But if I
Yeah.
hadn't been on the pill before, I don't know if I would have been so quick to do
Hmm.
it. But when I decided I wanted to be off the pill, I had that. I didn't even have a conversation. I told him, I'm
Yeah.
coming off of it. I don't want to be on it anymore. I'm not going back on it again because
Yeah.
it's just not for me. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And he went to using condoms. We used condoms up until we were not.
Yeah.
So that's like that
It's
because
just
it,
so much more complex than they make it out to be. Like there's also
yeah.
like different types of birth control. Like there's not
You
just
can
one.
get non-hormonal birth control,
Yeah,
but I don't know how not everyone can go on those either.
yeah, no, there it's so complicated. And honestly, it also depends on your doctor. If your
Hmm.
doctor really cares for you, like they'll go in depth to like talk about it, to like figure out which one's the best one, to like
Hmm.
do trials. And then if a doctor's just like, okay, you're having these issues, yeah, just get on birth control, it'll solve them. And then they just give you one and they don't even look back. They're like, how's it going? Is it great? Okay, bye. Like,
And that's how it was with me too, with being on with having PCOS.
yeah,
And you know, I mean, I get regular periods, whatever, but they suggested me also going on birth control.
yeah.
And it actually got to a point where the last time that comment was brought up to me was, I remember the math here, I think May of 2021, I believe.
Hmm.
And at that point, me and my boyfriend had a conversation that we want to start trying to have kids soon. We had a conversation together, and I'm just like, I'm not going on the birth control. I'm not going, we hadn't started at that point, but I'm like, I'm not going on the pill. That's not an option for me anymore
Yeah,
because I don't want to go on the pill for maybe another year or whatever the case may have been, go on the pill, have to then come off of the pill and then allow my body to get used to being off the pill so that I could start getting pregnant. No, it wasn't going to happen that way. So there's also that aspect of it too. They're so quick to give that option, but it's like, do you know where maybe people are at in lives? No, not necessarily. But at that point, I was 30. maybe there's an idea that I might want to, potentially have a kid at some point. And that's the other thing too, coming on and off the pill. It's so easy for your body to get used to, and it's so hard for your body to not be used to anymore. The transition is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Nope.
And then the other aspect of it, while we're still on the topic, um, the whole thing about vasectomy being an option. I'm
Bro, that's
sorry.
intense.
Thank you. I'm sorry, but that you said that is extreme. And how is a vasectomy an option in this? If at some point you do want to have kids,
Because you could reverse it.
you can reverse it. But the longer you have a vasectomy, the harder it is to reverse it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how long that's supposed to be. I think it's like 10 years. So
Yeah.
maybe they'll be fine, but why would you? I know it's technically day surgery and it's not invasive for them, but why would you want to put your body through doing a vasectomy and then doing a reversal?
Because it's him. Like it's, if your fear is that intense and you don't want to kind of like indulge in that fear or see, other circumstances or whatever, then like you fix it. So,
But again, I mean, I think the longer you have a vasectomy, the more um, the chances of you getting someone pregnant is less likely.
mhm.
But
I say, I don't even know if this is a thing. You tell me.
mm,
Here I am talking talking shit about America's education system, and here I am like, I don't know if this is true or not. But
mm,
it's can guys no, because it dies, right? The sperm dies real quick. Like guys can't save their sperm.
it
No, they
doesn't
can.
die. It doesn't die.
Like
We
they could can they freeze it or whatever?
they can freeze them.
Okay.
The sperm doesn't die when you do a vasectomy.
No, no, no. What I'm saying is like before you do it,
Mm,
like freeze your sperm because they're
mm.
so like they want to be
But I don't
so
know
technical.
how long you can freeze sperm for.
I don't know either. You know what? If it's not my problem because not my problem, it's their problem. Figure it out. Do the history. Do the research. But if you're really gonna be so technical about this, like when to have kids, and like have to be financially secure, which makes sense. I get it. But like if you're
Mm,
so anti-accidents, then get that vasectomy, save your sperm, and then just do it by science. Like, you know what? Like, have the sperm, have the egg, add it, and then put it into Amy. You know what I'm
but
saying? Like, if
that's
you're,
also not cheap either.
it's not, but if they really, if they want to be so financially secure, then like by the time they want to
Then
do
yeah.
that, you know what I'm saying? Like, then, like,
But what
don't,
I'm trying to say too is like they don't have to necessarily put the money in to freeze his sperm. His sperm doesn't die when you do a vasectomy. All it does is just stays trapped in his balls, basically, in the
yeah,
scrotum. Because
yeah,
what they do is they detach uh one of the veins that connects the sperm to your penis.
right.
That's all they do is they kind of, I don't know, they don't cut it, but they basically burn it. They burn you, and it basically like um it stops the pathway so that it doesn't, so when they do have sex and he does ejaculate, he's just basically shooting blanks. That's basically what
Hmm.
happens. It's just the semen, that's it.
Yeah.
But that's basically what happens. So all they had to do is reverse that if they do go this route, which I again think is absolutely extreme. But all he has to do is reverse that, and it should be okay. But as long as he's not like, if he has a vasectomy for 10 plus years and he hasn't reversed it,
It might just be 5 years.
I think he should be. I know they kind of said like 5 years ish or whatever, but it should be fine. But I don't know.
I mean, at the end of the day, too, like, look where they are. Like they gotta pay for this. Like they gotta pay for any doctor visits. They gotta pay for all these things. They gotta pay for the surgery. Like it's gonna add
Covered
up.
here. It's
Yeah.
covered here. We don't have to do that.
So they got to think about that too. And like that's what he's probably thinking. Like technically, like a birth
It
control
is
is
cheaper for her to
cheaper.
go on birth control
Yeah.
than for him to go get a vasectomy.
Honestly, all in all, Johnny needs to like go and like this fear is irrational.
There is a
Okay.
reason he has this fear, and I want to know why.
She kind of goes into it, Amy, on her Instagram story, saying like it comes from like just based on their like upbringing and like their like they spoke in depth about their social demographic and like
Mhm.
how their upbringing was and like that's his and then she kind of like kept it short. She's like that's his story to tell, but they talked in depth about it in the pods. So like they come from similar upbringings, this similar idea of like maybe he had to like search for food in different places and like couldn't really always get it at home and all these kind of things that really impact his upbringing where he's like, I will definitely not do this to my kids, right? And that does impact you and impacts the way you see your future and stuff and how you see your money. And then but then I'm just I don't know. There's a lot. And I'm just like, I get it, but then at some point you got to recognize when it's irrational and then how
Yeah.
to conquer this irrational fear.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because again, there's never going to be a right time
yeah, then don't get
when
married.
to,
Don't get a girl. Don't have a girl. Like, if you're not ready for this.
yeah, like there's never a right time to get pregnant. If you're
Yeah.
constantly going to wait for the right time, then the appropriate time is going to pass you by.
Yeah.
And again, I understand that because I had that with my boyfriend where
Hmm.
he would be so, you know, the financial aspect of things is so important to him. It has to be perfect, whatever. And I think that's also a very Scorpio trait because my friend's boyfriend is also the same way.
Hmm.
But eventually we had to both say to these men, listen, there's never going to be a right time.
Yeah.
Both me and her are 32 years old, going to be 33 this year. We don't have time for the right time to come because the right time is never going to come.
Yeah.
So you need to get that out of your head. As
And
long
also
as,
just, yeah, sorry,
but
continue.
no, no, go
No,
ahead.
no. No, I was just gonna say, like, also your idea of like wanting to retire early, like, and like spend it with the kids and stuff.
Right.
Like maybe, like, I feel like he needs to shimmy a little bit and kind of come up with a realistic financial plan in case, a kid does happen early on. How does that look like in terms of, you guys saving up for retirement and then pushing that, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't be so black and white. Just be more flexible. And maybe he is. Maybe we just didn't see that part. So
I
I don't know.
mean, maybe, but based on how he wants to go about that too, retiring early, which is like he wants to, you know, be a little more frugal
Frugal.
with
Hmm.
how they spend and all that. And it's just like, I hear him, but at the same time, like I'm with her too, where it's like, you want to be able to enjoy life. And he does agree with that, yes. But he wants to be able to retire early. And I'm just like, not a lot of people have that option to retire early. Actually, most people
Yeah.
don't have the option to retire early or retire by 65 or whatever it is.
Hmm.
And great for you if you're able to do that. But you're rare if you actually are able to do that. And I just do wonder that if that is his plan to retire early, how does children fit into that? Because children don't allow you to be frugal in how you spend, especially in the first, well, you know what, in the first 18 years of their life. You
Yeah.
have to buy diapers, wipes.
Yeah. And that's why
If you can't breastfeed, you have to buy do formula. It's not a cheap endeavor to have
no,
children.
that's why he wants like $1 million before he has kids.
Yeah, but even the $1 million, that $1 million going towards one kid. It's not cheap. Seriously, they've done I don't know for the $1 million, but it's a shitload of money that you end up
Mhm.
spending on a child throughout their, the first 18 years of their life.
Yeah.
It's nuts. That's probably going to go towards one kid. So how many kids are you having?
Maybe
And
just one.
maybe, but I get the impression that they don't want just one. I didn't, maybe I'm wrong, but didn't one of them say they wanted to have at least two or three?
That was like Jimmy.
Was it? Well, I think he
Yeah.
wants six, but okay, so maybe it was them then. It wasn't Johnny and Amy, but I don't
Okay.
know. So the other, I don't know,
I don't
a
know.
major thing that also
But we've
carries
definitely exhausted
into,
that. Yeah.
well, actually, wait, we have two major things we still need to talk about, and that's the Chelsea and Jimmy of it all too. That didn't happen in this episode. That
Ugh.
happened in the previous episode.
That's all I have to say. Ugh. Okay. What I said last time still stands to what I say today. And it's that like psychopath behavior. Okay. Like
Yes,
I just like, oh my God, woe is me. Like
that is why I
oh.
need you to watch Fatal Attraction because
All
she is
right.
plainclothes.
Give me, give me what you think, Tanika, because my opinion still stands.
Well, my
They are,
opinion still stands,
yeah. No, of
but
course.
when he said she was clingy, I said, "Oh no, she's gonna burn this house down to the ground
Yeah.
with you in it." Like,
Like,
she's how quickly she changed. She was just like, "I'm clingy. I'm fucking clingy. I stayed here and watched your stupid show with you, and then we went upstairs and I fucked you, but I'm clingy." And I'm like, "Oh." But then
literally, it was so messy.
it got worse though, because it's like, well, since you want to talk about the sex, that was your idea. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay. So as much as I think she is psycho, sir, don't say, well, you wanted to have sex. It was your idea. Are you kidding me? Who gives a shit whose
Yeah.
idea it is?
Yeah. Like, don't be
But
doing that.
like, oh my God, it was so bad. I felt for her in that moment because if she, when, okay, I'm I've always been a woman, not maybe as of late, but I've always been one that never usually initiated. Usually the man would initiate. So when you're a woman who maybe doesn't initiate all the time or doesn't feel comfortable maybe initiating all the time, it like to hear a man then shove it in your face is not cool. And that's not a great feeling. Um, and again, I think especially her response later, and I don't think she's joking. I think she's very serious, where she says, "I'm not going to initiate anymore." I think that comes also from a place, maybe, I don't know, I can speculate, but maybe she's been with a man who's thrown that in her face before. I've been in situations where a man has thrown that in my face before. Actually, share another red flag of my ex. He did
Mhm.
that to me too.
Yeah.
While while he was cheating on me, but he still did it.
No, I agree. I think like, I mean, I think for sure Chelsea, like, she has her own insecurities. Like, we've seen
Hmm.
her insecurities. Like, I was no surprise to me that she's like, okay, I'm not going to initiate it because like
Hmm.
she's the type of person where if you say any
Anything.
criticism, she's going to take it to heart and she's going to like, go like an extra mile to like, just to be like, okay, well, I'm never ever going to do that because you brought it up once, you know?
Hmm.
To me, I'm just like, Chelsea, don't dish it if you can't take it. Like,
Exactly.
don't bring it up into conversation. Don't act like, don't act like okay, I understand like certain words are very triggering for certain people and
Mhm.
clingy is definitely one. And like,
Mhm. But she is
maybe
clingy.
that yeah, and maybe that wasn't like the right term to use because we all know that
But
like
she's been
vocabulary for,
probably told that before.
yeah. And we know Jimmy's vocabulary is not that strong.
No.
So like he could have just said like, okay, you're putting a lot of pressure on me or you're
Yeah.
being overbearing or like, this is how I feel. I feel like this is not your personality. This is not you. I'm not saying you are this person, but I'm saying I feel suffocated. I feel this. Like do the whole I feel language. But
Yes,
obviously he doesn't do
always
that.
use your I statements.
Yeah.
Don't use the you are or you whatever because it sounds accusatory
Yeah.
more
But
than you are
also,
saying. And again, can you tell I've been in therapy? But then basically that's what I was told when
hmm
navigating conversations or communicating in certain situations with my boyfriend. I have been told use your I statements
yeah.
because that doesn't come out across as when you're saying you're doing this or you're doing that. It sounds, even how I'm saying it, it sounds accusatory.
Yeah.
So him saying you're clingy, that's accusatory.
hmm
Instead of if he did the approach where you just mentioned, it probably would have come
No, it would have
across
still
a
blown up.
little better.
No, she'll still blow it up.
She probably would have, but
In this argument, you could fully tell, like, she has tunnel vision
mm,
and hate. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, she keeps saying, "You never kiss me today. You never kiss me today." And he's like, "Well, if I have to bring the receipts out, I
he
kiss you in the
does.
bathroom and I kiss you before work." The fact that like you have to like actually remember when you do a good thing and it just can't just happen, like to me,
Mhm.
I'm like, all right, girl, like, like,
But again, why is this a conversation?
yes,
Why can't you just let one day go where if that is how you feel and you feel like he hasn't kissed you today, okay, me, I'm different. I approach things differently. Chelsea, take notes. If something has happened that is a little not normal for you and him, give it a day. See if things change the next day.
hmm
If things don't change the next day, I mean, I even give it even an extra day. I give it 2 days. But if things haven't changed and there's still this weirdness,
yeah,
then you come to him and say, is something wrong? I'm noticing this and this and this.
yeah,
What's going on? And you
yeah,
might actually be pleasantly surprised it has nothing to do with you.
yeah. Like,
I,
just sounds like the guy's working, and like he's right. Like, all because I'm working from home doesn't mean like I'm not working,
yeah, I'm
or
not
that like,
available to you.
yeah, or I'm available. Like,
Yeah,
work is work.
exactly.
And
Like,
Jimmy needs to just learn how to obviously balance certain things, but
yeah. Like
you know,
we both work in a hybrid situation.
yeah.
And like, just because I'm home does
hmm
not mean I want to be bothered. Are you
hmm
kidding me? Oh my gosh. I'm I'm probably gonna say I'll say the name, but I'm gonna cut it out. On vacation this week, and I'm so happy. I can breathe a little bit. But that's
Yeah.
exactly it. It's like when he's around, it doesn't matter if I'm home.
hmm
He called me like 4 times yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that is just because someone's home does not mean we're available to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. And that's like it's this and she doesn't work from home. She's a flight attendant. So she, you can't really fly from place to place from your home. It's
Yeah.
different. But I just don't understand why it had to be a conversation. Right after she had the conversation with her friends, and her friends were literally saying, it's not a big deal. But she still has to bring it up to him. I
Yeah.
don't
She won.
understand.
It's so random. You know why? Because like literally the second she found like a tiniest hole, she brought it up.
But yes,
Jessica. She just wanted to bring up Jessica.
right? Which
She just wanted that reassurance, that validation that like it has nothing to do with Jessica.
I have a theory too that's reminded me that I'm going to talk about here. So
hmm
her friends kind of said, oh yeah, like people say she looks like Megan Fox. But I have a theory.
Yeah.
Do you, I personally think this is a tinfoil hat theory, but it's still a theory. I actually think she said, I people think I look like Megan Fox because she realized the woman that he is interested in as well looks like Megan Fox. So if I take the heat off of her and put it on me and say I look like Megan Fox, even though she doesn't, I wonder if that's was in her head. I don't put anything past her because I think she is more cunning then she lets on.
Hmm.
I just would not be surprised if she took that and fully believes, just fully believes in the lie of it all. Because again, I think we've all said she doesn't look anything like Megan Fox. Like I think someone caught a still of her in one moment where she kind of looked like Megan Fox,
Hmm.
but that was just one still. As far as I'm concerned, if you're going to say you look like a celebrity, you shouldn't have to be taking just one still to catch that moment.
Yeah.
You should be looking like her all the time. I just
Hmm.
find it interesting because then when she's spiraling now because now he knows what Jessica looks like
Yeah. No, I agree.
and knows like she's gorgeous, but that doesn't mean that you're not because you are. You
Yeah.
just don't look like Megan Fox. That's it.
Mm.
But I don't know. The whole thing was stupid.
Yeah.
The fight, but again, I put it on her. She puts him in situations where he has to defend himself or
Yeah.
whatever. And that's not fair. But let's move on to Jessica and Laura a little bit
Okay.
and them talking, them meeting up.
Yeah.
So Jessica mentions in that situation that, which I believe her more than I believe Jimmy.
Hmm.
And she says that when they came back, he instantly friended her on Instagram
Yeah.
and then rescinded the invite
Hmm.
and put his profile as private.
Hmm.
Why would you do that? I don't understand why he would do any of it. But actually, yes, I do. I do understand why he did that. I bet you $1,000,000 Chelsea is the kind of girl that goes through his phone and would go through his phone.
Oh,
And that's why he
probably.
rescinded the invite and then said his profile is private.
Perhaps. Probably.
I think that's
I
why.
I could see that. I could believe that.
I mean, I'm not a girl who does that. I mean, I don't go through my man's phone. I don't feel the need to do that.
Yeah.
Um, I think everyone is entitled to their privacy
Hmm.
and that takes trust, but
Yeah, it does.
you have to get there and you're not going to get there if you're constantly going through the person's phone.
No.
That's just me.
Hmm.
But she does say she is attracted to Jimmy. She is
Which is
attracted,
wild.
which is wild to me, but she says she's attracted to him. And she says she still has feelings for him, even
Yeah.
though, like she said, she took the time to kind of get over it and heal from everything that happened. But she is afraid that she's just going to go right back if she
Yeah.
sees him. And
Which is valid and like
mhm,
good
it is
honesty because like you fell in love with the person, they rejected you. It's not going to take like 2 weeks to
3 weeks
heal.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. I mean, I've been there. I've done that. I'm still on with that person. But it's just like, that's exactly what happened. So I hear that. And which makes me think like, she is going to melt at the sight of him when she sees him.
Yeah.
She's not done. She's not over it. And I personally don't think he is either.
Hmm.
Because for him to say, I wanted it to be this one of these episodes, screw you, Love is Blind, for it not being one of these episodes, but gonna happen in the next episodes, where he says to her, "You're still my number one."
Which is wild. Lies, lies, lies. Shame. Sorry.
I don't think it's lies.
No, I think it
Do you
is,
think it is?
though.
I don't think it
Yeah.
is.
No, I think he's having that realization that Chelsea's a little bit cray-cray.
Yeah,
So, I mean, to be fair, Jessica really has high standards herself,
yeah.
but that's where
No,
that's where it's stemming from.
I don't think it's lies. The reason why I say I don't think it's lies is because I think he chose the easier option with Chelsea because Chelsea doesn't have a kid. He did not want to be.
So undeserving. So undeserving, then. He's just
No,
undeserving of everyone.
I agree. I agree. But that's what I think. I think if Jessica did not have a child, we would not be talking about Chelsea right now.
Hmm.
And
Um,
that's what I'm getting at. Or maybe it would be. Maybe she would be Trevor. But we wouldn't be talking about Jimmy and Chelsea.
yeah, no, I hear you. I could see that, but
That's why I think it's not a lie. I think he's being very honest with her in that
well, it's
moment,
very unfair.
but it's also very unfair. But the
Also,
other, go ahead.
on that topic of children and Jessica's daughter,
Hmm.
Autumn, apparently, there's, talks on the Twitter
Hmm.
that Jessica also had another like um potential person in the pods, and
Oh,
he took the conversation of Autumn better than Jimmy did,
oh,
but he said, I cannot get engaged and I cannot propose until I meet your daughter.
you know what? Round of applause to that guy, though. I commend
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I really do.
Like, oh my God, the critical thinking is there.
Yes. Because
Yeah.
what if she doesn't like me?
Yeah.
It's not as much about whether or not he likes her. Of course he's going to love her. But what
Mhm.
if she's not comfortable with me? What if she doesn't like me?
Yeah. What if he just felt like he needed her permission?
Exactly. Which is like watching, because I watched Teen Mom probably, at least Teen Mom 2, roughly
Yeah.
from the beginning. And talking about Chelsea, there's a Chelsea on there too, who ended up getting married to this
Yeah.
amazing guy who asked her daughter, Aubrey, for her blessing to marry her mother, which was one of the sweetest things. It just
Hmm.
kind of just goes to show like, I'm not just marrying your mom,
Yeah.
but I'm also marrying you in a way. Like, I'm taking you on too.
Yeah.
And like, for all intents and purposes, he is her father.
Hmm.
And like, that's a huge thing. So good for him. I really, I mean, that's not the show, unfortunately,
I know.
but good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I think, like, I do think Jimmy, and which again, just confuses me because when they have the child conversation, him and Chelsea, and the fact that he says he wants to have a lot of kids, you have a woman who has a kid, who can just add on to all these kids you want to have.
Hmm.
I my brain couldn't compute
No.
both of these things. The other thing too that I found really interesting with Jessica though was when she kind of was like, to me, maybe this is how I just interpreted it, but it kind of felt like she was kind of like, well, if he is going to be flirty with me, if he is going to show me this attention, if I do meet him, like, he's a man. And she kind of made me feel like Chelsea's comment, or better yet, accusation, that he cheated on her with Jessica,
Hmm.
maybe had a little bit of legs after all. That's
I'm
how
just
it made
like,
me feel.
yeah, I'm 100% just waiting to see what was it that made her think that. That's what I'm just
Yep.
waiting to see.
Yes. I think if I have this, which is giving me the, huh,
Yeah.
okay, but I still need more.
Hmm.
But if I see something that is legitimate, then I think hands down that they may have, because
Yeah.
she's making me feel, if he came to her and says, I want to be with you and I want to be with you,
Hmm.
I think she would. I really do. And I don't hate on that. Get yours. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want her selling herself short
Yeah.
because I don't think he deserves really either of them.
No.
And I think Chelsea needs a therapist instead of a
I,
husband.
yeah.
But I still want her happiness, whatever that. I want her happiness with Trevor. That's what I want.
Mm-mm. I got tea on Trevor, Tanika,
You have tea on Trevor?
yeah, you're gonna be shocked and you're gonna change your mind on Trevor.
Okay, let's finish up with the Laura of it all, and then you
Okay.
gotta tell me this tea, and then we
I
can
got
get to
tea
the
on Jeremy
episode.
too. There's Jeremy and Trevor, so I don't know who's the
Oh, I
villain.
have tea on Jeremy too. But
Okay, so
I'm
you
gonna
might
save,
know.
I think we both know. I think we're gonna
Yeah.
save the Jeremy tea until after. the last scene in the last episode.
Okay.
Let's save it to then. But the
Okay.
Trevor T, I definitely want. But
Okay.
let's finish up the Laura of it all. So then
Yeah.
Laura bringing up the whole thing of Sarah Ann DMing him.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I can't say that I wasn't expecting that because I was expecting that.
Yeah.
I was expecting what she said to him.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, I do have the screenshots of what she said. So she kind of starts off with like, oh, everything was great, blah, blah, oh, I'm happy, blah. But then it gets like really bad. So she says, I wanted to thank you for the experience that we shared together. Again, guys, so that this was between Sarah Ann and Jeremy. This was the TM Sarah Ann sent, and Laura. Good for her. Got the receipts. So she says, getting to know you, opening up to you meant so much. I genuinely hope you're happy. And Laura kind of was like, I thought that was adorable. I thought that was great. There's nothing wrong with this. Until if there's ever a chance your mind is shifting in your choice, I would love the opportunity to meet you, regardless of whatever way you go. Honey bunny, you are thirsty as fuck. He's made his choice. Are you
Wild.
really trying to tell me you're going to take Laura's seconds?
Mm-hmm.
Are you?
Man, love really, love isn't blind. Love makes you blind. Okay.
I don't even think this is love for
No,
Sarah
it
Ann.
is.
I
No,
don't.
for
No, I don't think it's love. I'm sorry. I don't think it's love. I think for her, it's. I personally think we have to remember we need to separate love and lust. She's lusting after this man she's never met. Well, now she knows what he looks like now on top of it now because she's Instagrammed him. But Instagrammed him, I feel like an oldie. She's DM'd him. And I think it's more about she wants to fuck him. They've both made this very clear in the pods that the physical attraction to each other was, well, at least for him anyways, was stronger than the emotional. She led, I think, a lot of the time with her sexuality, and he took that all in, and he too was kind of leading with that. They weren't strengthening the emotional
Mhm.
aspect. I personally think, though, he had made a decision, at least somewhat made a decision on who he wanted to be with from before he made the decision. But I think for them, it's a sex thing. I don't think like
I mean, you could be
it's
right.
tough. It's tough for me. I think I'm not saying that a sex thing can't lead to love. That happened for me too. But I'm just trying to say, like, I think the sex thing is what's the biggest thing right now. They
Hmm.
want to fuck each other. That's what's coming down to. And what we see coming next week, I want 100% hands down believe. Okay, I'm going to save it. We haven't even talked about that yet. But I 100% think she, something happened.
Hmm.
We'll get to it when we get to that. But
Yeah.
I have issues, even more issues with her now because I'm just like, so you're going to ruin someone's relationship for your own gain? Like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Nope.
Like, if Jeremy's a problem,
Hmm.
but we'll get to that. But what's the Trevor T before we hop into the episode?
Okay, girl. Trevor T is that apparently when he came on the show, he was in a relationship and his girlfriend knew that he was going on the show and like
God.
was like knew that he's just going on the show to go on the show, but like
Right,
he's coming out with just
right,
being with his girlfriend.
right.
Okay. So she posts the screenshots, like the texting screenshots, and she posts I didn't fact check whether it's like real, authentic, or whatever, but like
Mhm.
this is what's going around. And
Mhm.
essentially he was just like, yeah, like being lovey-dovey, like, oh, I'm gonna go on the show, like, blah blah blah, like I love you, I'm gonna miss you, blah blah blah. Then he comes off
Mhm.
the show, right? And then he's like
Mhm.
sharing the details, like, oh, like I did get close with one person that it almost like went through. Her name was Chelsea, just like my
Mhm.
dog's name. And then he was just like, like obviously what you're gonna see, like I'm just like I had to just say things to say things on the show.
Mhm.
Um and like she's like, yeah, I love you too, like I miss you, blah blah blah. Like she's like fully on this, like she's on board. And then he
Mhm.
goes like, so then she goes like, oh, he's like, oh, like Chelsea, his dog died.
Mhm.
Um, and she's like, yeah, like I didn't want to be the one to tell you over text. Like you should call your mom. And he's like, yeah, I already spoke to her. She told me, like, you wouldn't believe it. The day Chelsea died is the day that Chelsea ended things with me. Like I gave her my Chelsea's collar though, has my item. Like he's like telling her everything. And then I guess like a few days or a few weeks later, like the girlfriend's like, yo, you've been acting really different. Like I feel like you're not really talking to me. And anyways, they break up by like they break up. She
Mhm.
realized like this man changed and like something
Mhm.
must have happened and then broke
Mhm.
up. But he came into the show with a girlfriend with the intentions of staying with that girlfriend.
Mhm. Okay.
And
We've seen this
that's the
many
triple T.
times. We've seen this
Yeah.
many times. I have a few things I want to say.
Yeah.
Number one, I'm of two minds of this. At the end of the day, it's pretty evident that
Yeah.
he is a dog because he came on here with a girlfriend.
Hmm.
But, and yes, she may have known, but I'm of this place where she knew what he wanted her to know. I
Yeah.
fully think if things worked out with Chelsea, he would have dumped the girlfriend
No,
for
I think
Chelsea.
so too.
100% he would have. Because if he changed so drastically afterwards, then that goes to kind of show that he went into this with, I hate to say the right intentions, but with what we know, but he went in with the intention of finding a fiance because he clearly wasn't happy with the relationship he was in. Now, should he have broken it off? Absolutely. But that wouldn't have made it look any better anyways. But it's still, he would have at least been single. But I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna, if my man's coming to me and saying, oh, I'm gonna go on Love is Blind and it's not, I'm just doing it for clout.
Hmm.
I would be like, okay, so you go do that and do it for clout. And when you come out, you're still single.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have me. That's for sure. I hope you find someone else because you're gonna be alone.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna stick around for that. So I hate to use the word dumb, but Trevor's girlfriend, you're dumb. You're dumb that if you believed he actually did not come on there to find someone new.
Hmm. Yeah. No, this guy, either way, like this guy is messed up because like
Oh yeah.
he's like, even when he got off, he's like, I was thinking about you the entire time. Like I met this other guy and we both agreed that like we're not getting married no matter what. He's like, oh, like I'm gonna be depicted as such a kind, most genuine, in the most kind, genuine way possible, like with the cutest story. Like it's just like, are you like, and like, are you insane?
And
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I do. I will say this. I think he probably, in the core, is a great guy, but you're
Mhm.
not like this great fucking guy if you're coming on this show with a
Yeah.
girlfriend. Like,
No. Like what?
there's something off there. But
No, go on a different show, buddy. Like go on Survival. Go on something like that. Like
yeah,
go on
don't go on
Amazing
Love is
Race.
Blind. Like,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
No, that's messy.
That's disappointing.
No, like you can't, sorry, like you're undeserving of any relationship. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
No.
Yeah.
And is Jeremy any better? Is Jeremy any
No,
better?
not really.
Because you applied while you're engaged and sure you broke it off before you went in, but like like just like why are you applying when like it's like a safety blanket. Like if I get rejected for Love is Blind, at least I still have a fiance. But if I get accepted, I'm gonna dump the fiance.
That is why when the whole thing of Lydia and Uche came up and we kind of got this look into how they do the vetting.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to be asking questions about the relationships you've been in, when they've ended, all of these things. What happened with both Trevor and Jeremy?
Yeah.
Where where you it should have been clear as day that both of these men were in relationships very soon before being on the show. Are you like, what is, I have to blame the behind the scenes people on this too,
Mm-hmm.
whoever is doing the casting, which by the
Yeah.
way, isn't Chelsea supposed to be a part of the casting process? Girl, you're not doing a good job. Chelsea from season 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, I
they
didn't know
hired
that.
her on to be like helping with casting.
Oh,
And I think, I'm not sure if she would have been involved in season 6, maybe the season going forward. She
yeah.
wasn't involved in season 5 at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure, but if she was involved in the casting of season 6, we're not doing a great job, everybody. We need to do a little better.
Yeah.
Like what's happening here? Um, Not great. But again, I just realized before we get into I'm so sorry, guys, but we do this. Before we get into
Mm-hmm.
the next episode, what about us losing a couple, Kenneth and Brittany?
Listen,
I
I have so like this might be a hot take. I have so much respect for Kenneth.
do.
Like I really like this guy is so like he is so like confident in himself and self-assured. Like the fact that he's just like first like no, like this is not, don't put it on me. This
Mhm,
is not me. Like I give you love, I show you love. I'm down, I'm ready. And I express that. It
mhm.
seems like, you're having this conversation and you're saying we. No, it's
That's
you.
you.
It's you. And I love that. This guy is so self-aware. He's like, no one's gonna stand up, like, no one is gonna, try to put me down because I know me. I know me. I love that.
And the fact too, like, you know, because the way she put things like you're out until like late in the early in the morning and all of this, and it's just
Yeah.
like, but it's like, but I was communicating with you throughout each
Mm-hmm.
transition.
Yeah.
And what I also think, again, because she doesn't have a lot of experience dating black men,
Mm-hmm.
she's not aware that like if a black man is going to go get his hair twisted,
Yeah. Oh,
and depending on what time he's going to get his hair twisted,
yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all. Just a PSA on this. That
Mm-hmm.
shit takes a long time.
Yeah.
The twisting alone takes a long time. But then you
Yeah.
add the fact that black people, when they go get their hair done, in particular black shops,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the hell he's doing, wherever he's doing it, that also takes time because they're conversing, they're having conversation,
Yeah.
it takes time. It's a process. So
Yeah.
he could have gone in at 11 o'clock or something to go get his hair twisted, and he is pulling out by like 1:30.
Right.
It
But he
takes,
did say he had an itinerary. Like he had plans. Like he did say he was meeting up with this like coach or whatever or
mhm,
someone, can't remember whom.
yeah,
But he had plans
his mentor,
afterwards.
I think he said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. So like obviously you're gonna, if you're seeing a mentor after like being gone for like 3 weeks, like there's like Tanika, I talked to you on Monday or whatever it was, and look at us talking right now. Like we're talking forever, you know?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
it takes a while. And I really appreciate the fact that, and I think this is where you're going with, um, that he was just like, don't use one instance to change your whole perspective on me. Like just one thing or one day or one instance does not change all the other things I've done or our experience in the pod.
hmm And then her saying like she's not craving him
Yeah. I'm
again,
like,
that is
mhm.
on you. If
Yeah.
you're not craving him, which I'm not familiar, but if you're not craving him,
Hmm.
that is you, girl. Because
Yeah.
if he's saying he's coming, now, here's what I'll say. Him coming in at some godforsaken hour, turning on lights, telling me he wants to say goodnight to me, and he thinks that now's the time that he's going to try and get some fun.
Yeah. That was
Fuck
wrong.
you. I will be, listen, if a man's waking me up in the middle of the night thinking he's supposed to get something, something. It's not happening.
No,
Not
I
really.
mean,
Maybe it might.
that's what I'm saying. Like, if I
But
had
then,
no plans the next day, like if I didn't have to
yes,
wake up 5 a.m.,
yes.
oh, 100%,
Uh, if you,
it could.
yeah, because I crave after my man. I
Hmm.
want him like all the time.
Hmm.
So that's why, like, you might get a response out of me.
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, but again, if I have to go into the office the next
Hmm.
day,
Hmm.
fuck you, don't touch me
Hmm.
because I need to be alert so I can go to work. But if I'm not going into the office, if I'm just home and I don't have to log in till 9 o'clock in the morning, let's do this. Let's do
Yeah.
this. But that's my response because I crave for him.
Hmm.
She is not.
No, but you
So
see,
she's
like you,
not responding in the same way as like maybe I would or you would or whatever. We're not responding. She's
yeah.
responding to him.
But you see how initially she was putting it on like us, like, we're not
Yeah.
doing this or there's no temptation or like we don't make out. And then he was kind of just like, okay, well, I hear what you're saying, but like it's not me because I know what I'm doing. And I
Mm.
and I was like, okay, yeah, can I like say how it is? Like, but indulge, tell me more. And then he did explain more. And then she's like, yeah, you know what? They finally got to the root of it. And she's like, yeah, maybe I'm missing that crave, right?
Yeah.
And then
Which
he's
is
like,
an
okay, well,
important thing to have.
yeah, and he recognized that. He's like, no bad ailment, but like that's not something you just grow. Like that's not something you just like create, like you
Mm-mm.
force. Like
It's pretty
it's either
instant.
there, yeah, it's either there or
Yeah.
it isn't, and it's there for me. And if it isn't for you, then it's not going to be.
Hmm.
Kenneth, man, oh,
And honestly,
respect.
like I could feel this was how it was going to turn out when they had the conversation about his conversation with AD
Right.
and how she interpreted it. She's like, well, if people are going to come and say, I talk about the inability to raise, but you've never, as we found out, have been in, at least with a black man
No, she
before.
has.
No, I thought she said that she's not, I thought he
No,
said, you're not, like, I got the impression that she had been, but he said, I know you're not necessarily used to being with black men. He said that in the
no,
last episode.
no, no, no. I, I swear it's the opposite. He said like you're used to being with black men. Like she all like to me, I'm like, oh, she all she dates is black men. Like she's been in here before. That's what I mean, I have
Oh,
my subtitles on too.
I
Did you have
didn't
your
hear that.
subtitles on?
I heard in the last episode that or I think the seventh episode, that she has not. Like he was saying that she had not been with a black man. He said that I know maybe you're not used to being with a black man, or like maybe you're not with them as much as maybe you are with other races or
I
whatever.
got the complete opposite.
Well, you know what I'll end up
I'm
doing?
fact checking right now because now I need to
Okay,
know.
fact check.
Yeah.
But I I thought it was the other way, and you're hearing the other way. So
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe because again, I just watched this like literally rushed through it last night.
Right.
So, but I don't know. But yeah, from the conversation with AD though, besides that, when she kind of got on the defensive about it, I'm like, but you're not hearing the bigger issue here. There are concerns because being with a black man versus being married to a black man, having interracial children or biracial children with that said black man is two different things.
Hmm.
Anyone can fuck a black man, but can you then raise his children in the way
Yeah.
that they need to be raised in? Can you deal with unfortunately, the oppressions of being with a black man?
Yeah.
That's two different things. But
I think she handled that conversation well.
I do think ultimately, on a whole, she did. But
Yeah.
initially, I was concerned. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When
ooh,
she kept saying like, "Oh, is her intent like if her intent was like pure,
yes,
whatever."
yes.
Um,
But also, I'm sorry, but she needs to stop using the word identity when talking about race.
hmm.
Drives me nuts.
Yeah, I know.
One does not identify as a black person. One does not identify as a Caucasian person. You are that. Is
Hmm.
there's, I mean, there is particular
I
women
think
out
she's
there.
definitely using politically correct language, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. But I think like there is at least one white woman out there who wants to identify as a black person. We
Nope.
will talk about that though. Okay, so yeah, I with Kenneth
Yeah.
and Brittany. I don't know. I think. I mean, I was concerned the race situation would be the issue if they were
Yeah.
to not get past anything.
Hmm.
Um, but who knew it would actually be because she doesn't actually want her man to do anything to her. So anyway,
Oh, I also fact checked, and he did say you are used to dating black men,
you
and
are
she said,
used to.
yeah,
Okay.
and then she also said earlier on that like she's familiar with these questions because of
Okay.
her
So
relationship with
I got it
him.
wrong.
Yeah.
Well, well then that just makes it even more interesting how she approaches things with him
Hmm.
because it comes across to me that she is not used to being with men,
Right.
but she actually has been with black men before. So
Hmm.
it's interesting. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's that. And also too, I mean, this is me kind of putting my blackness out there, but when she kind of says like when they were on the boat, oh my God, when they were on the boat,
Yeah.
the awkwardness of that situation. But when they cuddle and she's like, "Oh, you have big hands," and I'm like, "Honey, that's just black men for you. Black men have big hands."
I think she just didn't know what to say because the whole boat ride was so awkward.
So awkward, but it's just like
Yeah.
if you've been with black men before, you should then know they have big hands.
Yeah.
So this is yeah. Anyway, and also wasn't he a football player too at one point?
Oh, I don't remember that.
I think he was, or at least he played like maybe college football or whatever. But I think he was. So then that's also a disaster. He has that football build to him.
Hmm.
So anyway, enough of this catch up. We are finally getting into the episode. So episode 9 is titled Secret Rendezvous. And we are going to quickly find out why it's called this.
Hmm.
Oh man. So first we're with Chelsea and Jimmy, and he's back in the house after all of the issues that we already talked about with the clinginess and all that. Because he left. I don't think we mentioned that, but he did leave because she said she was going to leave. And the funny thing here is that she says to him, she's like, you know, him leaving wasn't cool. And he said, well, I left because you said you were going to leave. Which again, is a very childish, but at the same time, I'm like, if he didn't leave, you probably would have left. So
Yeah.
for her to kind of say it wasn't cool that you left, but it's like, but he just did exactly what you said you were going to do.
Yeah, but to
He just
her
got
it's
ahead of
like,
you.
yeah. Oh, no, I agree. And if someone's gonna leave, you really rather have the man leave while you're gonna have the girl leave, let the girl stay in the home in a safe space.
Yeah, and
Um,
I think that is actually commendable. I don't give him much, but that
mhm.
is commendable. And because I thought too, like, well, it's not going to be very safe for you to go. But, and again, we shouldn't as women have to worry about that. But unfortunately, we do.
Yeah.
Um, that doesn't
Her
necessarily mean
reasoning, her reasoning has to him leaving. It's like, oh, like I was gonna leave because you
he
said I'm
abandoned
clingy.
me.
No, but also like I'm gonna leave because you literally said I'm too clingy. So let me give you
Yeah.
the space.
Yeah. And
Like
she
I see
probably
where
wants to
she's like,
have that dramatic walkout,
oh yeah, 100%.
but he got ahead of her. She just
Yeah.
quickly walked down to the backyard. So,
Yeah.
there you go. Then he left.
Yep.
Um, so he says that like he was it him? He just got ticked off because about questioning, it wasn't stopping, it never does, which again is true. She doesn't stop questioning him when it comes to how do you feel about me? This and that. Like, why did you kiss me today? Oh, like it's constant. Like, again, maybe just for me, like I'm very low maintenance. My boyfriend is lucky because I am so low maintenance. I can do my shit and I'm good. We'll literally go hours without talking to each other because we're good. But that's me because I'm like, I don't want him up my ass. I don't want to be up his ass. I don't want that. And it's just so much more peaceful. Now, I'm not saying that anyone should do what I do because that works for me and him, but there should be some level of you should be able to be in your own space, in your own mind, be alone, and let the other person also have that space to just do their own thing and know that the love is still there and the love
I
isn't going anywhere.
Yeah. And I think like jumping on this point you're making, she really like emphasized in the pause like how like her being a flight attendant, like it gives the space in the relationship where she was like, yeah, it's so healthy. And like, you know what? It's perks. Like
And
this is the
it's
positive
healthy.
side. No, but I think her like in this relationship with Jimmy, no, she's gonna go crazy when
Yeah.
she's working and has a flight attendant
Are
and is
you
away from
kidding?
Jimmy.
As soon as she can take her phone off airplane mode, she's gonna be texting him, babe, what's going on? Are you okay? Do you still love me? Do you miss me? Like, that's basically
Yeah.
what she's gonna do.
But like she's also gonna be like really insecure in terms of like what is he doing? Who is he seeing?
Right. But again, like, everyone has their moments. Like, I can self regulate, but it took me a long time to be able to self regulate. It wasn't always like that, but I was able to self regulate. Sometimes my boyfriend, he's not able to. We all have our moments where sometimes it's just like you want to be up that person's ass. But those should be not happening all the time. And it's just not, it's not healthy. It's not normal to
No.
be like that. Like I too would feel smothered and suffocated. I don't think anything he's saying to her is incorrect. She is fucking clingy and she is suffocating him. He just needs to find a broader way to say it, but she is doing all those things to him. He should have ended up with Jessica because at least she's not going to be up his ass. She is a mother.
Yeah.
She has a child she needs to take care of. But anyway, I don't know. So yeah, she says that she just wants to know when things are bothering him. Um, but he also needs to fix his delivery, which I do agree with. Because like if he's fixing his delivery, maybe she can receive it better. But I think we also said earlier that we don't necessarily think that might change anything. I don't think it, I hope for it, but I don't know if his delivery would have changed how she accepts it. And really, truly, the only way that like she can, like, the only thing she can control is how she's accepting it, not how he's delivering it. You can't control how he delivers it because men are dumb. Um, so yeah, she told him that she, like we've mentioned before, is never going to initiate sex again because of the comment he made, which we've talked about in length already. Um, but he does say, like, please don't stop initiating sex. Like, he wants her to keep doing it. But I guess we'll see. No, we won't see. We're not going to see, but we'll see if that maybe changes because something tells me this is going to get brought up in the reunion. So we're actually now going to be meeting some of Jimmy's friends. We have two women, Barbara and Maddie, which it is brought up that she isn't sure about how she feels about him having friends that are women,
Mhm.
which is normal.
Yeah.
I think like if a lot, if my man came to me and said, oh, like I have these friends that are women, I'd be like, Okay, so when did you fuck them? When did that happen? But I mean, there's not a lot of men that I've been friends with that I haven't had sex with at some point. I think for him, it's more about when did you? Was it recent? Was it
Right,
not recent?
right.
So I think that it's more about when did it happen in conjunction to when we met. But like, I mean, I would think. So did you? Like, when? But I don't think this is a situation between Jimmy and these friends. I think it's strictly platonic.
Hmm.
Because they refer to him as like, he's kind of like her brother. So I don't think anything's happened with them, but, um, they, uh, hold on. They, she thinks he is ready for marriage. Oh, no, no, no. Got it. So it is brought up that Chelsea was married before, and they do ask, like, well, so why did you sign up for this? Like, we know why he did, but why did you? And she says, like, she thinks she is ready for marriage again. She says she was young when she married, um, her ex-husband, but she says, like, now she's matured, which I thought was funny because I'm like, mm, mm,
Yeah,
um,
not enough.
I don't know if you fully matured yet. Um, and she said that she took the time to heal. Mm, no, I don't think you did. Because if you did give yourself time to heal, you wouldn't be projecting the hurt from your relationship or relationships onto him. And that is a very hard thing to do, honestly. But you're projecting the hurt from other men into this relationship with Jimmy. So, no, you haven't given yourself time to heal. And honestly, I don't know if she's been in therapy. I hope she has, but I'm a huge advocate of that. And you, especially when coming out of a marriage, especially when you were young in that marriage to begin with, therapy is kind of the thing that helped me get past and through what I went through in my previous relationship. And that takes more than just time. You need like an advocate in that too. But nonetheless, um, then they bring up, or better yet, she brings up randomly to these people she doesn't know about her not initiating sex anymore, and here's why. And I'm like, these people don't even know you that well.
Yeah, girl,
And
she does that too. Clearly that's like her personality to like
everyone,
not keep it a secret.
everyone, I'm fucking him. She
Yeah.
needs the whole world to know she's fucking Jimmy.
But she
And
also
it's,
just airs their private conversation all the time.
yes. Are you like, I mean, if you're having a conversation like that with your friends to a certain extent, I mean, really and truly, no one that I am friends with knows intimate details about my sex life in that sense. I might open up a little bit because I'm comfortable in that, but it's it's still I'm barely scratching the surface because that is personal between me and him. And I mean, I might get a little deeper with like my best friend because we've known each other for 20 plus years. We're comfortable in those conversations. But honestly, we're talking in general senses, not like particular things. But there's just certain conversations, and that comes with growth, that comes with maturing through, your 20s or whatever. And you tend to not have those conversations because I will say this now, Jimmy might get tired of her constantly putting shit on blast with them. Maybe not. I don't know. But that was the biggest bone of contention between me and my ex-husband. Because I would talk a lot about our sex life. He hated it. He would tell me, "Can you stop? That is personal between us." And when we did get married, I did stop. It it was something I didn't talk about because it's personal. But I've taken that and I've grown from that because I don't do that going forward. But this coming out and like telling his friends everything, not cool. Not cool. Um, but they they asked her like, because we start talking about everything that happened. And uh, she go I mean, I would say something like this, but she says like, "I love his dot 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 heart," when really that's just not what she was trying to say at all. She was trying to say, "I love something else." But anyway, she loves how emotional he can get. So apparently he may or may not have cried during sex, which again, that is so personal. So
Yeah.
that's something you don't talk about with anybody. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say my man cries during sex. I'm also not saying that he does. He doesn't. But I'm just trying to say, like, that clearly was an emotional response in the moment where he's clearly in some sort of euphoric state and he's getting emotional. And honestly, like, kudos to you, Chelsea. Your pussy made him cry. But like, that's not something you talk about to the whole world to basically see, or you're telling his friends or whatever. Like, that's, there's no filter with her. I'm noticing. Like, and I've noticed, but it's just no
But it's only
filter.
to her advantage, like say if Jimmy says something, like she's gonna go berserk.
Yeah, but exactly, because how dare the man talk about how great her pussy is? You know what I mean?
She needs to add accountability into her dictionary.
It's true. I mean, I, but again, me having those like, this is a kind of conversation that I would have personally with my boyfriend. Between me and him, no one else is aware. And we do that. Of course we do. It's, it's our thing. But it's, I wouldn't want the things like thinking about it makes me actually make me want to crawl out of my skin. But there are things that we say to each other in private that if he were to say those things to a friend, I would lose my mind. But I think also at the same time, he wouldn't particularly like it either. Like, she gives me the vibe that she would take a picture of his dick and show her friends. Like how big he is. Like, that's what she would do. That's what I feel like. And like, accidents happen because I know, like, my friend, because she was going through my WhatsApp for whatever reason, or she was actually using my phone for another reason than for whatever fucking reason, she ended up on my WhatsApp and saw a picture of my man's dick. It was a long time ago. But she's like, "Oh, what this?" And I'm like, "Mind your business." So shit like that can happen if your friends are nosy like mine. But you shouldn't be offering the information. That's what I feel like she would do. Um, but yeah, so then she tells them, how he says she was clingy and all of this. And his friends actually put him on blast a little bit because he's like, "You're complaining that she's clingy," and basically insinuating that he's clingy himself.
Mm-hmm.
He's the kind of person that if she like doesn't touch him in the night the way he expects her to, that he would like, she wouldn't like me anymore. I don't get those vibes from Jimmy.
No.
I don't get that vibe from him at all. I get that from Chelsea though. Chelsea would be like, "Oh my God, he didn't kiss me right. Like that's
Yeah.
basically what she was saying to the whole time. Like he didn't kiss me. It wasn't so much that he didn't kiss her, it's that he didn't kiss me on the lips. Because every other kiss he described that happened that night was like, I kissed you on the forehead in the morning. Oh, and then I kissed you on your cheek or whatever, or on top of your head because you had just gotten ready. You had your makeup on. I didn't want to ruin your makeup. But he is showing her affection, but he's not showing it in the way she wants him to.
Mm-hmm.
Please, I love a forehead. I love forehead kisses. That makes me feel ooey ooey, gooey gooey inside. My boyfriend doesn't do forehead kisses. My ex did. My ex did forehead kisses all the time. And I loved them. Um, it made you feel nice and gooey inside. But that's not enough for her. And I was like, come on. But yeah, she kind of says like, at first I felt kind of weird about him having friends that are women, but I think you guys are really cool. And I think we would both probably be like really close. So she's seems to be kind of okay. She says like, obviously her insecurities is kind of maybe what formed that opinion initially. Which is, yeah, I can't say too much about that because I probably be the same way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like it. Oh, right. Jeremy and Laura. He is going to be meeting her family.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found with the meeting of the family is she really put him on blast throughout this in certain situations. And I'm gonna go work in order as to like what happened. So like the first thing was kind of like, oh, he has Hawaiian shirts and I hate Hawaiian shirts. Oh, he has a motorcycle. I don't want him riding a motorcycle. And what I found too was her family, especially her sister, was kind of like, um, it's not that big of a deal if he likes Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah.
It's a form of self-expression and you're basically trying to muffle it. And that's not okay, which I kind of agree with. I don't give a
Yeah, me too.
shit if he wants to wear a Hawaiian shirt. Um, like that's it doesn't matter. Um, and she kind of says like, well, he said he had like this self-expression or not self-expression, but he had like this great sense of style and that doesn't show he has a great sense of style. And I'm like, that's, that's, that's an interesting take. Just because he has a Hawaiian shirt. Anyway, then she brings up the DMs of it all between him and Sarah. Or technically Sarah and him just liking it, which we didn't talk about. What do we think about him like acknowledging the messages at all on Instagram?
Wait, sorry, what was that?
What is your thoughts on him liking the message on Instagram that she said?
Yeah. Okay. I see he had intentions where it's like, oh, I'm gonna tell Laura this and then blah 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 blah. I do think like, okay, hoarding it is giving the wrong impression, which we
Mm-hmm.
all now know that maybe he did have those exact intentions.
Yeah.
Um, I agree with the sister. Like, you could have just done a thumbs up, or you could have just
Yeah.
left it on red.
I
You
mean,
didn't, I
I
don't
don't
think you had to
know.
acknowledge that.
He didn't have to acknowledge it at all. Leaving it on red, that shows you read it.
Yeah, you read it
What
and you're like, no, you
what I'm
know?
interested to know, I think it's kind of important to know when we're filming versus when Instagram made changes to their DMs in terms of how you can react to something. Because
Right.
before, I can't remember when now, but before, you didn't have all the options you have now on Instagram in the DMs. You could only heart it. That's all you could do. Where now you can do the thumbs up. You can do all these different things to acknowledge it if you really had to.
I mean, they definitely had that then because the sister brought it up.
That's true. But also, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Was she making that comment because that's something you can do on Facebook Messenger is you can do the thumbs up and whatever. Like the advancements between Facebook Messenger was already there. It
Hmm.
wasn't on Instagram. When they combined Messenger between Facebook and Instagram, that's when the changes happened.
Yeah.
And is it that she's just saying it because that's what you can do on Facebook? Or was she saying was it an incorrect statement dependent on when this happened? Because we have to remember, like, they filmed this like a while back.
Sure.
Like, pretty sure season 5 was filmed like, I mean, we did the timeline already in season 5.
Yeah.
Go back if you want to. But it's just, I just wonder.
Okay.
That's where I'm coming
I
from.
mean, if that's the case, say if they didn't have any other options and it was just a heart,
Hmm.
either you leave it on red or you could acknowledge the beginning part, like, hey, I appreciate those kind of words, but um, nothing's like
Nothing's
the choice
changing.
I made. Yeah, the choice
It's
I
a
made
choice
is
I
the
made.
choice I
Yeah.
made. Like, leave it as that. You could have
Hmm.
done that because the heart kind of leaves it like, oh, what are you liking? Do you like the first part or do you like the second part?
Exactly.
And when I was no more. Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm in this weird spot with, like, you should have left it alone. You shouldn't have liked it
Hmm.
or hearted it. But at the same time, I do think she's hyperbolic, and her family kind
Yeah.
of agree or kind of leads to say, yeah, she's hyperbolic.
Yeah.
And how are you going to handle that?
Hmm.
But we're going to skip ahead because Sharon has to leave soon. But we're going to talk about what happened with this whole situation,
Hmm.
because that's important. And I
Yep.
don't think she's being hyperbolic in this situation
No, she handled that so well.
so well.
I was like, I need to take notes. Like, it was good.
It was, listen, I
She
have
caught him.
I have been in these moments. There is nothing like a woman. We, even if you actually are a lawyer like Sharon is, we're all lawyers when it comes to these men.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't fuck with us. We're going to find it.
Oh, yeah. She caught him right into exactly where she wanted him to be,
Mm.
you know?
So basically, she comes downstairs and she's like, so what the fuck happened last night? Like, you, apparently he came home at 5 o'clock in the morning. And
Hmm.
she's like, the bars close at 2. So what were you doing for 3 hours? Well, I'll tell you what he was doing for 3 hours. So apparently, from his perspective, they were supposed to go to like a karaoke bar. It was I guess some of the pop people were going to be going to a karaoke bar. The venue changed and he went to a Lost and Found.
Hmm.
And he was told by this particular pod mate that Sarah Ann was going to be there.
Hmm.
And he's said, well, I'm not going to let her dictate what I do, so I'm still going to go, which very well might have been a process that came through his mind, but I don't think it's as simple as that.
Yeah. Neither do I.
So he says, yes, things close at 2, whatever. He doesn't not acknowledge that, but he says, we hung back until 5 o'clock and we talked.
Hmm. Well, first
So
he didn't really say that.
he didn't, what did he say?
He was kind of being like wishy-washy. She's like,
Mm.
oh, like he was kind of like beating around the bush just to see
What he
if
get
he
away with.
could go, yeah, if he could save his life. So he was kind of like, oh, like, understand that it was late. So I gave you that reassurance by giving you my
My
location.
location.
And then she's like, that's not reassurance. Like, location
No.
shouldn't be the thing that reassures me. Like, who do you think like, why should I be the one looking at your location constantly and be like, oh yeah, he's just here at this particular time. And no, reassurance is coming home at a decent hour. Reassurance is like communicating with me. Like, that's the reassurance that you should be aiming for, not sending me, like, I'm sleeping. What is your location even supposed to do if I'm knocked out? Which I'm like, this is where she caught him. This is,
But,
yeah.
but again, to kind of add on to that,
Hmm.
just because you're sharing your location means nothing. If you decide that you're gonna fuck, you could fuck in someone's car in the
Yeah.
location that she thinks you are in.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything.
No. And that shouldn't be the case. Like, I shouldn't be like, it shouldn't be like, I need to see your location to know what you're doing. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's not, no.
I don't have my boyfriend's location.
Yeah.
I've thought about it, but I don't, no, I'm kidding. I don't have his location, but we communicate with each other. I pretty much know
Yeah.
where he is at every given moment of the day.
Yeah.
because we communicate with each other.
Yeah.
And like that's what she needs. But
Hmm.
let's continue on with this because this is great.
Yeah.
She says, well, if you're going to give someone a location, you should think about what you're going to be doing first. Because
Hmm.
you weren't at the place in the
Oh
area where the
no,
lost and
sis.
found is. You were
Before
in
this
the
happened,
area. Oh, there's more?
before the tea was spilling here. I honestly, this was engraved in my head because it was so good.
Mm-hmm,
Before this happened, she like then reiterates, okay, again, where were you? Because
mm-hmm,
don't expect me to be watching your location at 5 a.m. Where
mm-hmm.
were you? And then he goes, this is where I'm like, you're an idiot. He goes, I don't want to talk about it right now.
Right, that's right.
I was
That's
like,
right.
he can't come, he doesn't, he can't
He's the one
formulate the
talking about this
lie.
right now. I'm
He
like, are you
can't,
for real?
she,
You
yeah.
you don't get to dictate what you talk about.
Uh-huh.
If my
Then,
man's rolling into, if we were living together and he's rolling in at 5 o'clock in the morning, which would never happen, but
hmm,
if that were to happen, I would be saying the exact same thing. Where the
yeah,
fuck were you
yeah.
at
So
five
then,
o'clock in the morning?
exactly. So he did that bullshit. She was like, like, nah. And then,
And then,
that's when she was like, whatever, like, where, whatever. That's when he was like, okay, this is, it seems like she didn't. So then he goes on to be like, oh, we were in the parking lot after the
yes.
spot closed.
And then she's like,
And then
you
he's like,
were
no,
in
you
the
weren't.
area
And then
where
he's like,
Sarah
no,
Ann
I was.
lived.
Like, there's an alleyway. And then he was trying to like say, like, oh yeah, I was in that
And then
alleyway.
what were
Maybe.
you doing in the alleyway? Why would you have need to be in an alleyway?
And that's when she's like, at 5 a.m., I saw your location. I was like,
You were
I,
in the area where Sarah Ann lives.
yeah. And that's,
Y'all, they
that's
fucked. He fucked her. He fucked
100%,
Sarah Ann. He,
100%.
and when she's like, I'm done, I want out of this, and she walks away,
Mm-hmm.
did you see his reaction? Did
No, what
y'all
was it?
see his reaction?
Tell me.
He went on his phone for like a second, and then he threw the phone in anger.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Oh, I didn't see that.
he threw his phone in complete anger. Like
Yeah.
the look on his face, he
Because
was furious.
because he could only be mad at himself at that point. Like you
Oh,
actually
yeah.
were slick.
And the reason why we know that they fucked that night or that morning,
Mhm.
because what Sarah Ann says during the meeting when she's sitting and talking with one of the other women, I can't remember who it was.
Oh, really?
Yes, because she says, he told me that he would leave me or leave her for me. Like he told me that. Like she has this confidence of he told me that he's going to leave her to be with me. That
Yeah.
same trope where men are like, I'm going to leave my wife for you when they never do.
Mhm.
That's basically, he probably told her that in the heat of the passion
Yeah.
while he's balls
Maybe.
deep in her and saying, I'm going to leave
Yeah.
her for you. And she
Yeah.
believed it.
Because no, at the end of the day, absolutely not. Like, even if you're going to have a chat with her, like, absolutely, you're not going to have a chat with her at 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. or 2 to 5 a.m. or 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. in a freaking car, in a parking lot, and not feel the need to come home and not feel the need to maybe like, let's go for lunch to have this conversation. Like, no, I'm sorry. She is valid to believe that anything and everything has happened.
The fact that they were so open with the fact that they wanted to fuck each other, they said that
Yeah.
to each other in the pods,
Hmm.
do not make me think that you guys didn't fuck. You
Yeah,
did.
like you resisted each other,
Oh,
especially with
no.
alcohol. Mm, no,
And
he's
she
he's
has
done.
clearly no respect for the
No.
fact that he is with somebody else. She has no respect for it. She had that like from before they even saw each other.
Yeah.
So, but like we did also talk about, we can kind of talk about briefly. I know you gotta go soon, but we only have like a few minutes anyway.
No worries.
Is this man is a dog because he was engaged
Yep.
when he met, or he went on the show.
When he signed up for the show, yeah.
Yeah. He claims, because I do have an article on it, but I'll
Yep.
just briefly go over it. He claims that he wasn't living with her anymore, that they were not together anymore. They had the house that they lived in, but he wasn't living in it. They were selling it. Um, And he's claiming all of that. Meanwhile, his fiance is claiming, or ex fiance is claiming that they were living together. They were together when he signed up for the show. And her mom is also getting involved in it too, which I think her mom should stay out of it. She doesn't have all of the details like what she would have, but he is definitely something is off
Mm-hmm.
with this, as well as I believe she has a kid too. She has a son that's not his, but she does have a son. So it just seems,
Oops.
I don't know. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle with him and this ex fiance.
I mean, based on how he's going about this situation, I'm not surprised that he blurred the lines, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he's as great as he comes across to be.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's it for this
That's it with
episode.
me. Yeah.
So we're just going to finish up with the episode on my own. There's not really a lot to talk about. In we just have Amy and Johnny, and then we have I think Adie and Clay. I think we really covered the chunk of it. So we're just gonna quickly go over these other people. So Amy and Johnny, they're gonna be doing like dance class, which they do. I think they did the bachata, I think is what they did. They're gonna apply it to their wedding, hopefully. Anyway, and then basically the other thing that happens is she's meeting his family. She's making cookies and everything like that. And then they show up and they really love her. He has two sisters, Maria and I think that was Anna. And I think Maria's fiance was there too. And they love her. They think that love really is blind because they love her that much. But that's basically it for Amy and Johnny. It's not a lot. A lot of their stuff was in the other episode, which we did go over, but they'll be more in depth in the actual episode there. And then the other thing that happened here is Adie and Clay, which again, we talked about, you know, we did talk about it, about the conversation, that was had. But basically what we didn't mention in that was his mom and what she had to kind of say to both of them about this, because he's really complaining about like how she's not satisfied with the time that he does give her and his work is really important to him. And he started working pretty much right away. She didn't. And he he's not really seeming to budge a lot on that, but his mom tells Adie, first of all, you do need to respect his work and his timing with that. But she also then goes to him and says, you also need to respect the fact that she wants the time and you do need to make the time. Work is important, yes, but so is your marriage. So, yeah, again, we did talk about this. We just didn't really appreciate the fact that this conversation was happening now. But that's basically it on the episode, um, on this episode. And, yeah, that's basically it. If you want to hear more about on from Sharon, we're actually going to be shortly recording an episode for my other podcast, Next Take Podcast, that is going to be coming out in 2 weeks. It's coming out in the first week of March. I don't remember the exact date, but it's coming out in the first week of March. I believe March 7th, where we're going to be highlighting Women's History Month or day. I can't remember if it's a month or a day. Sorry. But anyways, we're going to be highlighting that and we're going to be having a really fun conversation on that. On that, as well as Letitia is supposed to be on the episode as well. For those who remember Letitia from the Sister Wives episodes, as well as Family Chantel. She's going to be on that too. So we're going to have a fun conversation kind of talking about women and the challenges we face and all of that. So if you're interested, definitely you can hop over there. I am going to probably be giving you guys a little sneak peek as a short bonus in sometime in March as well, in case you want to take a listen, see what it's all about for hopping in. But yes, we're gonna have some fun over there. But other than that, that is it for episode 9. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. We are finishing up with our Black History Month series right now, so it's been great over there. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.